But I'm not hearing that over there either. From when he was kind of near it, but not speaking in it.
Test. Really? Testing 1, 2, 3.
No.
Oh.
Good afternoon. The Memphis and Shelby County Board of Adjustment is hereby called to order for its regularly scheduled meeting of July 23rd, 2025. My name is Tim Rainey. I'm chairman of the board. Mr. Jeffrey Penzis serves as secretary of the board. Mr. Penzis, may I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Bruce.
Present.
Ms. Conrad.
Here.
Ms. Skurlock.
Here.
Mr. Love.
Here.
Ms. Sharp.
Here.
Vice Chair Savage Selden.
Present.
And Chair Rainey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. The Memphis and Shelby County Board of Adjustments is the oldest appointed governmental body in Memphis and Shelby County. We were established in 1925. And side note, we actually turned 100 on July 16th. So we're 100 years and 1 week old today. Thank you. We'll sing later. The board hears appeals from the administration of the zoning ordinance, requests for variance from the zoning ordinance, and other requests articulated by local zoning laws adopted pursuant to the enabling legislation. The 8 members of the board are appointed, 4 by the mayor of Memphis and 4 by the mayor of Shelby County. We serve without remuneration, and we are confirmed by the Memphis City Council or the Shelby County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I want to swear in the staff. You may remain seated, but do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you very much. May I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Mr. Secretary, please provide us the secretary's report, if there is one this month, and then explain the procedure for the meeting today.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As for the Secretary's reports, there are no announcements this afternoon. The procedure for this meeting will be as follows. I will introduce each case as listed on the agenda. Copies of the agenda can be found at the front podium. For each case, the planner with the Division of Plan Development will give a presentation. At the conclusion of the staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present his or her case. After the applicant's presentation, those speakers in support will have a total of 5 minutes, then those speakers in opposition will have a total of 10 minutes, and then finally the applicant will have 2 minutes to provide rebuttal. These times do not include time for questions from and answers to members of the board. The chairman may provide additional time provided both sides are given an equal amount of additional time. All parties who wish to provide testimony to the board will be sworn in by the chairman. If a member of the audience wishes to provide testimony in support of or in opposition to a particular case on today's agenda, he or she will need to fill out a speaker's card for the record. Speaker's cards are available at the front podium. Once filled out, speaker's cards can be submitted to any DPD staff member at the left podium. We do not need speaker's cards from the applicants since their names are already part of the record. After all parties have been heard, the board will close the public hearing, make a motion, and then deliberate on the case. If the applicant or any speaker would like to be heard after the conclusion of the public hearing, or if a board member wishes to hear additional testimony from any party, a 2/3 vote is required to reopen the public hearing pursuant to the board's rules of procedure. Please note that once the public hearing is reopened, both the applicant and opposition will be allowed to provide additional testimony and/or rebuttal. All motions by this board will be made in the affirmative. The private acts governing the board require the affirmative votes of at least 5 members to approve an application, regardless of the number of board members present. The board may also vote to hold an application for a period not to exceed 3 months with the consent of the applicant or 1 month without the consent of the applicant. All section numbers that we refer to come from the Memphis and Shelby Unified Development Code, or the UDC, which was adopted by the Memphis City Council and Shelby County Board of Commissioners in August of 2010 and became effective on January 1st, 2011. I will introduce the entire UDC and make it part of today's record, thus dispensing with the reading of individual sections. The board is vested with the powers to act on these cases before us today under the provisions of Chapter 9.22 of the UDC. Mr. Chairman, I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order, all applicants have been notified of this hearing, and all notice requirements have been fulfilled as required by the UDC.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, the board will establish a consent agenda. To establish the consent agenda, the secretary will call out each eligible case. If any member of the audience, staff, or board member objects to a case being placed on the consent agenda, he or she should do so by a show of hands when the secretary reads that case. Once the consent agenda is established, the board will vote on all cases placed on the consent agenda as a whole, will not hold individual public hearings on those cases. Mr. Secretary, which items on our agenda are eligible to be placed on consent this month?
First, I would just like to note that item number 4 has been withdrawn.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 1, BOA 2025-20 at 3485 Denver Street as approval with conditions. Item number 5, BOA 2025-66 at 2214 East Brooks Road as a hold for 1 month. Item number 9, BOA 2025-73 at 314 A.W. Willis Avenue as approval with conditions. And item number 10, BOA 2025-76 at 1415 Breedlove Street as approval with conditions.
Okay. Thank you. If we could get a motion to approve the consent agenda, which should be number 1 is approval with conditions, 5 is a hold, and 9 and 10 approval with conditions.
So moved.
Okay. I want to remind the board by voting on the consent agenda, he or she affirms that he or she has read the staff report and is in full agreement with the conditions. Mr. Secretary, may I get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Ms. Conrad,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. Skurlock,
Yes.
Ms. Sharp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Savage Selden.
Yes, I find that the standards of the UDC of 9.22.6 are being met and will not be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
And Chair Rainey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so if you're here for any of those cases, 1, 5, 9, or 10, you've been approved or held in the case number 5 as requested. Mr. Secretary, will you call the first case that we're going to hear today?
Item number 2, BOA 2025-54 at 837 Big Street.
So is the applicant present for the Biggs case?
Yes, we're here.
The Sorry about that. The opposition could also come and make their way to the front and just take a seat. We're going to have a staff report first and then hear from the applicant in opposition. So, Ms. Longstreet.
This is Alexis Longstreet presenting on case BOA 2025-0054. This property is located at 837 Big Street. This is a request for a use variance to allow a 3-unit large home triplex in the residential single-family R6 zoning. As you all can see here, this is a location map and a vicinity map. About 213 notices were mailed on May 8th. Both support and opposition letters were received before the deadline and as well as after, so those were not included in the staff report, but I'm sure some of those individuals are here in person today. The zoning map, as mentioned earlier, this is residential single-family 6, surrounded by majority single-family land use designations, as well as a few institutional and commercial. Here's an aerial view of the existing structure. And here are some street view photos as well. This property is currently already being utilized as a duplex, so the applicant is simply asking to expand the current legal non-conforming duplex to a then legal non-conforming triplex. They are proposing to add about 1,000 more or less 1,000 square foot addition to the rear of the subject property, where there are existing drives on both sides, north and south of the subject property. Staff did recommend rejection, given that the current existing non-conforming principal structure is a duplex and they are proposing to convert it into a triplex. We did not find any justification for converting this existing non-conforming structure to a basically new non-conforming structure within the R6 zoning district. And that concludes my presentation.
Are there any questions for staff? Okay, thank you. Mr. Bray, if you want to come up and share with us. You'll give your name and address for the record.
All right, David Bray with the Bray Firm, 2950 Stage Plaza North, Bartlett 38134. You want to get us all at one time? And
That'd be perfect if y'all are going to
Okay.
talk. Yeah.
Claudia Humphrey. And what else did you need?
And your
Oh,
address.
my address. My address is 760 Rowan Drive, Nashville, Tennessee, 37207.
Okay.
Candace Humphrey. My address is 286 Tusculum Road, Antioch, Tennessee, 37013.
Okay.
Archie Robinson, 3399 Lower Dunmore Cove, 38134.
Okay. And so y'all swear to tell the truth.
We got one more.
Oh, one more. I'm sorry.
You want to give your name and address so they
Yeah.
get us all ready to speak?
I apologize. Eugene Kirk, 6600 Ascot Drive, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Y'all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay. Go ahead. Proceed.
All right. I'm going to be real brief. Did a good job with the staff report pointing out things. I'm just going to point you to one page. I believe it's page 8 of the staff report. You see the proposed conditions plan. As you pointed out, this is an existing non-conforming use. I'm going to let the family here explain what it is they envision for this and what they're trying to do. But the reason I wanted to take you to page 8 to look at it is you could see that there won't be any change from the street point of view. You won't notice a difference on this. There's a driveway on both sides of the house right now. The entire addition is going in the rear. So with the exception of construction activity going on during that portion, you would not notice that there was a change in this. And we got a lot of things to say and very limited time, so I'll shut up and let the next person step in.
Trying to get this presentation set up. Sorry. I just want to do this last show. Fantastic. So good afternoon. My name is Eugene Kirk. We work with El Piso Fund. El Piso in the Greek terminology means the absolute certainty that your future is going to be a success. So it's with that consideration as we approach you guys in the conversion of this duplex, legally conforming duplex to a triplex. We work on behalf of the Humphrey family, and ultimately we come to talk to you guys about the community impact, the value that it will add to the community and the benefit that the project will bring. Give me just a second, and we have a couple of things to share with you. All right. Hopefully, throughout this presentation, we quell any concerns that you guys may have in regards to hardship or non-conforming instances. So today we'll talk to you about a project overview, why it makes sense, how it impacts the community, give a brief description of the project, then allow the family to discuss with you guys their emotion. Ultimately, the project is about three sisters, a legacy project where Claude Humphrey was a viable community member, and they're reintegrating themselves into the community. And as you can see, the theme is converting a duplex to a triplex for the three sisters, carrying on their father's legacy. The outlook is just allowing the family to be empowered to control their outlook. As a base level, we're just converting a duplex to a triplex. It's going to have minimal frontage disturbance. Most of the work's going to be done in the back. And then, obviously, the three daughters are trying to carry on their father's legacy, something that he really wanted throughout his lifetime, but just didn't have the opportunity to do. And now they venture like a prodigal son coming home to create a homestead to carry on the family legacy. The property's been in the family name for approximately 60 years, and it's something that is it's a passion project for the family. Why it makes sense. For the community, it increases property values. It creates economic revitalization. Ultimately creates more safety in the community and gives the community control on the outlook of their community. With this, we have ultimately, we're going to include the community. We hope to include the community in some of the ideation when it comes to how this looks and how this impacts the community. As you heard me mention, there's three sisters and just looking to fulfill their father's legacy, creating this duplex to a triplex. And we already talked about how it increases property value. I think the beautiful thing about this is when you first enter into something new, there's oftentimes the unknown that people are scared about. And right now, what we're presenting is a revitalization versus gentrification of this particular property, and the mindset and the ideation of how community can take control of their own properties and push things forward. As I mentioned, the Humphrey family plans to reintegrate into the community. They are the lineage of a viable piece of this community, Claude Humphrey, who has, you can hear tremendous stories about him, and I'll let them speak more about that. And then at the base level, vacant homes hurt the outlook of the community. So by developing this property to fulfill their father's legacy, it can really help the community be more viable. So as you heard David Bray mention, Mr. Bray mentioned, this is a grandfather duplex passed on to three daughters. The property is currently zoned commercial, taxed commercial. You heard Ms. Longstreet kind of mention they have pockets of that within the community. Most of the additions are going to be in the rear of the community. Most, if not all, it already has two existing driveways on either side of the grandfather duplex, so parking will not be an issue. Obviously, our intent is to remodel the existing livable space and add more livable space on the back end. And then, just the entirety of upgrading the house will help upgrade the community and just help the outlook of the community. So right now, we're going to give about 4 minutes for the family to read some prepared statements.
Good afternoon. I'm Archie Robinson Jr., the only child of Cheyenne Humphrey. My mother could not attend this afternoon, so I'm speaking on her behalf. I'm also representing myself as the caregiver to my mother and the future caregiver to my aunts. Yes, our family is small and depends on each other for support. This homestead is a development because homestead development is needed for our family. My mother has disabling conditions that have led to mobility issues. She walks with a cane, sometimes two, and needs orthopedic surgeries. Our current residence is a 2-story condo. Climbing stairs is a slow, arduous process. There are days she can't leave the second floor due to pain. Despite our best efforts to manage, this represents an extreme challenge for our family. I'm not just here seeking sympathy. This variance request is an opportunity to allow my family to create an opportunity to help ourselves. Developing a homestead with a single-level unit is necessary and allows full use of our property. A homestead where my family can age safely and provide care to each other. A residence where my mom won't have to climb steps would be invaluable to our family. As a 4th-generation son, I've heard the stories of how our family and other families in this community took care of each other. In keeping with the spirit and character of this neighborhood, please approve our request. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Board, and thank you for the opportunity to share with you why this is a passion project for our family. We are the Humphrey sisters and a generational community member. Our grandparents owned this duplex. It was purchased for them by our father, Claude Humphrey. Our dad grew up in a shanty in Binghamton Alley. Poverty and housing insecurity were a daily concern. When hard work and dedication led to success, his number one goal was to make a better way for his family. He asked his employer to include a family home as part of his contract. Our dad's intentions were clear: to provide safe, secure housing for our family, providing a housing resource to the community and residual income to help my grandparents when employment resources were scarce. When my grandparents passed away, the property was inherited by my father. Our father respected and loved this community. His desire was to renovate the home and live there with our mom. Unfortunately, navigating this process for an aging individual was a roadblock and deterred him from pursuing his wishes. Therefore, he settled to visit the home daily, maintain the property the best he could. During those daily visits, he would ride around the neighborhood, checking on friends and patronizing businesses on Jackson. It broke our father's heart to eventually board up his parents' home once the maintenance became overwhelming. Now, when our father passed away, my sisters and I inherited the property. We have the same goal as our father: to return to the community, live in our generational home, and be part of the community. We are not outside developers. A couple of weeks ago, we walked the neighborhood to engage with neighbors to garner support for this variance. We were overwhelmed by their remembrance and reverence of our dad and our grandparents. From the neighborhood church leaders to business owners, neighbors old and new, on surrounding streets, Barbara Drive and North Tresvant. They were eager to learn about our project and how we will respect the character and culture of the neighborhood, jumpstart economic revitalization, and increase their home values. We would never dishonor our family's legacy, reputation, and commitment to this neighborhood. We are building a dwelling that will allow us to live and support each other throughout retirement and aging. Thank you.
A couple of final thoughts. What you heard today was a family trying to fulfill their father's legacy. You heard why it's important for revitalization versus gentrification. You clearly heard the Humphrey sisters, the Humphrey family, mention that they are not outsiders in this community. They are becoming reintegrated into this community. Ultimately, this is a viable idea. And with that, we ask for your support. One thing I did forget to mention is that we do have letters of support here. I forgot to pass those out earlier if I don't know the process. But we do have letters of support from various community members. As you mentioned, as you heard us allude to, they did canvass the area last weekend to garner that support. With that, we say thank you.
Is there any questions?
I've got a question. You talked about your plans are designed to increase the value of the property. I understand that. Can you talk about the impact it'll have on the neighbors' properties? I mean, I just in general, I think most people would assume that if you're talking about building making it into a 3-unit building that could be used as an apartment building, where you've got tenants, not you, but a future owner could come in and put tenants in as opposed to homeowners, that could negatively affect the value of the neighbors' properties. I just want to hear your response to that.
My response to that is we plan to live and maintain a residence on this within the triplex. That is the goal. I don't know necessarily what economic the future holds, and we never know. But if we're living there, we would not allow anyone to disrupt our living environment, let alone external living environments.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Thank you.
One more question, Mr. Chairman, if I may. Is there any possibility of, instead of making this a 3rd unit, just make it an extension of one of the existing units? That way you don't have to ask us, for permission to make it into a triplex. It's already a duplex and that's grandfathered in. Is there a way to build on the extras? Because it's one family, as I understand it, that's there. Is there a way to build it, to add the addition on to give you the additional space you need and not make it a 3rd unit?
There's 3 of us.
Yeah, I think that's
sisters.
That's what we wanted to just reiterate. The father had 3 daughters, and I think that's the beauty of converting this duplex to a triplex, is fulfilling the father's legacy by having a separate location for each of the grown daughters.
Okay, thank you.
And remember, we're beyond child rearing years. So it's not like we need space for like 3 kids. We do not.
Sure.
Or grandchildren, absolutely. This is the only one.
I have a general question regarding the citations, and I think this may be for staff, but then I also have a follow-up on that. On the citations, have those been corrected from code enforcement? Do you know, Mr. Gray?
I believe there were several citations. I believe they were from city housing about the condition of the structure. And so I don't think those have been corrected because I think they're asking for this. But they weren't from our zoning inspectors. It was city housing.
Thank you.
Responsive to every inquiry.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for staff. So let's say somebody built an addition on a house. That addition had a bathroom and a kitchen. They just happen to have an internal door that they can lock. Is that a triplex or is that an addition to a duplex?
So that wouldn't be a dwelling unit yet because you only said bathroom and kitchen.
Oh, and a bedroom and a living room.
So then I guess it would depend, are they still operating as a common household? So there have been instances where such things have happened and we condition them that you still have to live as, so say the only thing allowed was a single family home. Mm-hmm. When they apply for those permits, we put that condition in there that they understand they can only use this as a single family home. AKA, your brother lives in one, you live in the other, so you maintain that you're related. Because as soon as you get more than 4 unrelated individuals, you no longer qualify as family.
Okay.
So would that qualify if they're using, or would that determination also if they're using 3 separate like utility units, or would they only use 1? Is there a separation in that?
They should only use 1 in that instance.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I have a question. You say you are going to be moving into the unit?
Residents, yes, ma'am.
Not maintaining, you said you're going to move into it?
The goal is to ultimately move, yes, and be maintained, yes. But in the meantime, definitely for sure, 1 to 2 of those units will be family maintained, family residences. I guess, pardon me for not having the proper jargon, because this is our first opportunity to be in this space. But I think if I'm not answering your question, I'm happy to clarify.
No, I was just asking as far as your intentions to move. I heard when you
Yes, We
were-
have other
You were in
projects.
Nashville, and one of your sisters is in Knoxville, not?
We have a home, my sister lives in Bartlett. We live in Nashville. We have other projects that we'd like to do within the city and the surrounding area. We will have to relocate to Memphis permanently at some point. I mean, we've still got a little bit more to do professionally, but we will be back and forth consistently, and we will maintain a residence here in Memphis.
I have one slight follow-up for Chairman Rainey's question, because you did mention the locked door. In the instances that I know of, we've made sure that the common areas remain commonly accessible. So like your bedroom, could have a locked door, because that's common, but someone should be able to walk from the common areas of one unit to the other without being locked out.
Gotcha.
On that last point, if I may add, you may have heard AJ mention that his mother suffers because she lives in Bartlett on a second-story unit. His mother lives on a second-story unit. She walks with the cane sometimes. She will probably be the first to relocate to the family homestead. And then the intent is for the other two sisters to relocate.
So to confirm, this will be a family occupied dwelling. And then from there, just kind of continue with the family to continue.
Okay. We'll have some, is there anything else you want to add before? We're going to move to the opposition, and then we can come back for rebuttal. 3 minutes for rebuttal. Okay, perfect, thank you. So I have a card here from Mr. Ballard. Mr. Ballard, yes. Sir, if you'll come to the front and say your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Samuel Ballard. I live at 932 Big Street.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and share with us.
We, the residents of Palmshire Park community, and this is a name that was given after we organized about 11 years ago to try to preserve our community. And we object to the various requests at 837 Biggs. We understand that this change in zoning is technically pertaining to 837 Biggs, and that it would be an exception to the existing single-family zoning. The question we have is why when you think about a community, you have to think about it not just right now, but what's good for the people, what's good for the community. More importantly, how would granting this exception be beneficial to the community, which has existing single-family residence zone? The answer to the second question, from our standpoint, is that it would not be beneficial to the community. However, it would set a precedence for introduction of other such triplexes, consequently creating a potential of a greater and possibly more unstable population in the community. What we're looking at is when people get sick and old and so on, it's easy to look at their heirs and talk about how much money they could make or how much they could get from the property. And having a change in the zoning done by those who are heirs is an easier way for investors to get their foot in the door. Not necessarily right now, but later on. And that makes objecting to their intrusion into the community a lot easier to overcome, because once you have set in place something that is different from what is normal there, it's a little easier to do it the second time, the third time, and so on. We're looking at preserving the community, not changing it to become something else. I gave you some information that pertains to what I'm talking about. We want to build community. We need your help to help us do it. We want to maintain the historical nature of the community as well. We need your help to help us do that. I believe that there are a lot of people who want to be in our space because of our proximity to St. Jude, downtown, airport, everything, people in Rhodes College. So we have something like an ideal location for people who say, boy, we can make a lot of money in this place. So we feel like we have to protect what we have and to ask the board to help us maintain some consistency in this. These small residential lots on this street, Big Street, in this community, we're not designed or sized to accommodate this intense density. With this precedent set, other such triplex developments could follow. And I'm not saying that because we are actually well acquainted with this family, so we think they're a fine family. I just think that we have not thought through all the logistics of this. To think of families moving from Nashville to Memphis, married couples moving to a small apartment, it just seems to be difficult to do, transitioning in careers and all that. We just feel like that sooner or later it becomes difficult to make this a single family setting, and it may become ideal for investors to take it over. These residential lots have, in this case, it has 2 driveways, and it could easily have 3 to 6 vehicles if it's there for other families. So we're thinking that this potential for expanding the community into becoming something else is what we don't want. How do you say what will happen in the future, except to go by what has happened in the past? And we've seen developments come into communities, uptown, Binghamton, crosstown, all over town, South City, and so on, and become something else besides what was there. So these residential streets were not designed to facilitate 3 times the amount of parking and traffic per household structure. These with 3-unit on-site, more triplexes, more vehicles, more trash receptacles, etc., are likely to be the outcome. If this variance exception is allowed here, then we're looking at bringing our community down in terms of the way we're trying to make people enjoy life now. What you have in your hand would be a representation of the lifestyle we want to have for our children and for our people, our elderly, and so on. And we want to keep peace and quiet as being our main culture. Now, of course, if we look at the money and we look at the things that are being said today about what would happen if this structure is put in place, I say, what about the people? What about the people who have to live there? And I think that over the last 11 years, we've been working hard to create a sense of community. And I say that because it's not that easy. people feel like they don't have a voice. If they say they don't want something and they put it on a petition and they say they don't want it and you don't hear them, they feel like their voice is not heard. So we have some of the people who are in the community who did voice themselves through a petition to say, no, do not do this. So we're asking the board to please hear what the people have to say in their own way. So in my conclusion, we're saying that 14 years of working, 11 years of working with this community, and I've been living there for 50 years, but we organized 11 years ago. We want those old houses to stay as they are and not to tear them down. We have renovations done inside of houses, but not outside. They've been staying the same. So historically, we're still maintaining our historical landscape. However, if we start this process of variances and changing the building structures and creating new layouts for the community, we are destroying what we have been working hard to build. I'm asking for your help in this area. Appreciate it. That's my statement. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Three minutes left for the applicant for rebuttal.
Again, I'm going to be very brief and let them speak, but just a couple of concerns from Mr. Ballard. I want to reiterate the point that we're not going to change the look of this from the street. It will be exactly the same that it looks today. And he made several points about this changing over to a triplex. But it is already a duplex. So the concerns he has of that, I mean, this can be rented to two different renters at the same time today. So it's not as if we're taking single family and changing over to a triplex. This is already an existing condition. The unusual configuration with the driveway on both sides. That's all existing conditions. So.
We agree with Mr. Ballard. We do not want to change what the community is about, which is why you heard us mention we're reintegrating into the community. We will look to get community support in how we go about the design of this new addition. Ultimately, it's not changing the fabric of the community. And we would acquiesce to a lot of the issues that the community may have to make sure that it is a viable part of the community. Again, not gentrifying. We are not outsiders. We are insiders coming, working from the inside out, revitalizing.
I appreciate Mr. Ballard bringing his concerns. I had the opportunity to speak with him when I was canvassing. I sent him an email as he requested. And so I have been trying to get connected with his community group. It's not been as easy as I would like, but that's okay. Listen, he has a right to have his opinion and we respect it. And I just would ask that the board just listen to our presentation and understand our need and the right to have a property and to be able to move forward on that as you would want with any of your property. So thank you.
All right, anything else? Okay, are there any questions for the applicant?
Is the property currently being rented?
The property is too dilapidated.
Did anybody have a question?
like to ask one question. How many people are here in the audience in opposition? Raise your hand. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so at this point, if we could get a motion to approve BOA 2025-54 as conditioned by staff, and then we can discuss.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just I guess a concern. I wouldn't have an issue with this application if we had a way to condition it so that it wasn't a rental situation. I mean, it sounds like the applicant wants to use it for family purposes, but I'm challenged with supporting the application because it's already non-conforming use. This property was rezoned, and OPD rezoned it with the intention of doing away with some of the multifamily, or at least keeping it as it was. So extending this non-conforming use, I have a challenge with that if it's going to be used as a rental. Thank you.
Mr. Love, I think I join in with your sentiments on that. If it's family, to me, I think to your point, Mr. Chair, there could probably be a creative way to add on the extension, but keep it in the bounds of a duplex. But at the same time, I'm concerned. I understand hearing the sentiments of it being family, but when we get to second and third line generations, when does that convert to income? And that seems to be the trend in most cases, to Mr. Ballard's point. So I'm not sure how we would, even if we did a sunset, I'm not sure how to rectify that outside of it being family or just saying no and leaving it a duplex. So I'm looking for some.
It's difficult.
Yes.
I think that this case has a really good story to it. That's the family story. That's a beautiful story. But like what we have to deal with is just the property. And we have a duplex where it really shouldn't be a duplex anymore. And we're asking to really go 3 times as much as what, I know it's just one more than they have, but now it's 3 times as what they're supposed to have. And like when we have to look at stuff, we just have to, we're not supposed to look at the story. We're supposed to look like what is unique about this property itself. And that doesn't include the history. If for some reason this house had already been used as a triplex, had a fire, now we're rebuilding the triplex, and need to do something that's a little different. Here we're just like, we already got a duplex. We're just wanting to add on, and that's a much bigger ask. I like what Greg was saying a little bit, like if we knew it wouldn't be used, because to use it for the family, I just don't know how we, that just doesn't work to put that kind of restriction, I think, on it. To not be able to use, when it's a triplex. It's eventually going to need to be rented, and they'll just come back and say, well, we already got this structure. What do you want us to do with it? So I don't know how I would like to support the family. I don't know how I can support this case. Any other thoughts?
I think that, as has already been said, there is room to be creative in adding on the space they need. It's one family. It doesn't have to. There's room for them to add on the space that they need without us as a board condoning turning it into a triplex. So they can get the space they need if it's truly one family. We don't need to authorize them to turn it into a triplex, especially because we got to think about what happens with the next owner, the next generation or the next owner.
Any other thoughts before we vote? Okay, Mr. Secretary, if you'll give us a roll call, please.
Mr. Bruce.
I'm sorry, what the motion was?
The motion would be to allow a triplex.
Okay.
So yes would allow it, no would disallow
no.
the triplex.
Thanks.
Mr. Love,
No.
Ms. Conrad,
No.
Ms. Skurlock,
No.
Ms. Sharp,
No.
Vice Chair Savage Selden.
No, I find that the standards of the UDC of 9.22.6 will not be met and will be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
And Chair Rainey.
No.
Motion fails.
Motion fails. Sorry. Good luck with what you can do with the property. Wish you the best of luck with that. If we could call the next case, please, Mr. Secretary.
Item number 3, BOA 2025-22 at 712 North Manassas Street.
Okay. Is the applicant present for the Manassas case?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I know we have some opposition. Goodness. So if the applicant come forward, if you are in opposition, once we move to that, if y'all be ready to talk, that would be great. But we'll hear first, before we get there, we're going to hear a staff report. So we're going to have Mr. Smith do that for us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Travian Smith. I'm a planner here at DPD, and today I'll be presenting case BOA 2025-022. The applicant for this case is Nawal Al-Harbi, as well as the representative. The location of the site is located at 712 North Manassas Street, and the purpose of this case is for a use variance from section 7.3.11 in order to allow a grocery store deli to operate, as well as a variance from item section 3.5C to B to allow a 0.4 setback of an encroachment. As you can see on the screen, here is the location of the site, which is located in North Memphis. And then on the right, you can see the vicinity map of the number of notices that were mailed out to the residents in the surrounding area. On the left side, you can see the zoning map, which basically outlines where exactly the site is located. And on the right side, you see the land use map, which highlights where the site is located in regards to the neighboring sites. This screen basically gives you a further highlight of like an aerial view of the location and how it looks from above. These photos basically highlight what it looks like on the ground, and as you can see, the grocery store is one singular building, and it gives further dimension on how it looks like in the surrounding area. These photos give more of a detailed focus on the interior of the site, and then I wanted to highlight the number of cameras that are available within the store. Here's the site plan that basically demonstrates what the pictures that you have shown, which basically highlights the building and then the setback from the street and everything. And just another highlight of the variance, the reason why the variance is needed. The variance is in order to allow the grocery store to operate, and then another variance in order to highlight the side-to-side setback that needs to be made for the encroachment. And in conclusion, not to go into too much detail, but just to give a background, this convenience store has been operating since late 2019. The store did have an electrical fire, which caused the store to close. The store recently opened up at the end of 2024, and it caused a violation because they were operating without a certificate of occupancy. And as that is not permitted in order to do. And so our Office of Construction Enforcement issued that permit for that certificate, not certificate, but they issued that violation to them. And that caused them to come back to us in order to apply for the COO. But then they realized they have to get another use variance in order to operate the grocery store. The area is surrounded by vacant lots, single-family homes, and other institutional uses, such as churches and a vacant school across the street. And then also I want to mention the proposed several conditions that are shown on the next page in order to continue to allowing the use of the grocery store in Delhi. DPD recommends approval with conditions. The conditions are highlighted as limiting the hours of operations from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Any trash collection, trash compaction, recycling, anything of the ordinary shall be shown on the site plan, and it shall be screened from the view. The screening shall be like a fence or a wall that's made of matte material that's compatible with the building. And then the compatibility is subject to the zoning administrator's approval. Thirdly, the remaining pole that is in front of the building that is like a formerly detached and it has a payphone attached shall be removed. Any rope lighting that's on the lot shall be removed. The property shall be maintained free of litter and trash, with all accumulated waste collected and properly disposed daily. The property owner shall post a sign that clearly states no loitering or soliciting in order to deter any unauthorized individuals from congregating or residing on the premises. The establishment is prohibited from selling alcoholic beverages, and then the variance shall expire and become null and void on July 23rd. Any other changes or anything that will be made by the zoning administrator, and that shall be submitted to the Board of Adjustments for review and approval. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Real quick for me, what is this property currently zoned?
That's a great question. It's currently zoned as moderate density residential, so it's a special use district that's located in North Memphis.
Gotcha. And then on your, I forget where it was. So they started, I guess, rebuilding it back at the beginning, like September last year, and permits were issued?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other questions for staff?
So prior to the fire, were they in compliance or was this a non-conforming?
So they were in compliance and everything prior to the fire, and the fire caused it to close down.
But they were still non-conforming.
They were non-conforming.
They were legal non-conforming, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions before we? Okay, we're gonna move to the applicant to hear from you. If you can give your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Badr Naji, 942 North Parkins Road.
Okay, and you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the true stuff you got?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and share with us.
Okay. Well, we opened the business since 2015, and the store caught on fire in 2019, and the store been closed since that. And when it's like 2024, we opened it back, and we and then since when we opened the store like 24 hours, because they broke on the store and they still some stuff, and the insurance they didn't accept it because they say it's a bad area. They didn't accept no insurance in the store. I think the instant maybe.
Yes, I have a question. They have you approval with conditions. Are there any conditions that you don't approve of or that you have a disagreement with?
I'm sorry, no.
Sorry, I think they do have a disagreement with number 1, is what they've told us previously. About the hours of operation condition, number 1. Are you in agreement with that now? It says 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Can you make it longer because it's it's too short time?
Said because they be breaking the store.
Because that's why we open late because they break in the store and that's why.
Okay, so just to confirm, are the hours that you would request the same as that you told us previously, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
Can you make it to 12 p.m.? 12 a.m. Can you make it to 12 a.m.? Because Hazam Naji, 942 North Perkins Road. Yep. He said, can you like make it a little longer, like to 12 a.m.? Yep. 6 a.m. to 12. Yep. No.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do, I think, unless anybody has any questions, I think we have about 7 minutes left for testimony for y'all. So we're going to we got a bunch of opposition that wants to talk. So listen to them and y'all can come back and rebut them. You actually have 9 minutes.
All right.
After that's over, okay?
Yep.
All right, so y'all don't have a seat. I want to be sure everyone's close. And we're going to move to the, is there anybody else here in support? Okay. So we're going to move to the opposition. Sorry. Our speakers changed. They work better if I turn my mic off. I'm not used to actually turning it on off, so I'm sorry about that. We're going to move to the opposition at this point. So I have a bunch of people here, but do y'all know people that want to talk first? We probably won't get to everybody in 10 minutes.
Yes, Jordan McKenzie, 850 North Manassas Street.
Okay. And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Mr. McKenzie?
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, good afternoon, board. Jordan McKenzie here. What you are about to encounter today is a multifaceted, multidimensional expression of concern from the community. And while I'm talking, can I take a point of privilege? Everybody that's here in opposition to this case, would you stand really quick, please? Everyone that's in opposition to the case. So, board, as you can see, you are looking at elected officials, you are looking at community leaders, you are looking at community residents. Y'all can take your seat, thank you. You are looking at several different myriads of voices from the community that are in opposition to this convenience store coming back online, simply because the use as well as the user would be injurious upon the welfare of the neighborhood, and it would not be with intent or in harmony with the intent of the UDC, because this operation, this convenience store, while it has been less than a year in operation, has already experienced 8 counts of police incidents with 16 counts from year to date. That is an egregious violation. And I'm just here speaking on behalf of the CRA, but what you're going to hear today is from a myriad of different people coming from different perspectives and different personas to tell you that it's not just about the use, it is also about the user. And the user is in partnership, not just with this particular convenience store, but with other convenience stores within the Uptown community that have caused years of disharmony and neglect upon the community. So I urge you, don't just listen to me, but listen to the voices that are coming after me. Thank you.
Hi.
Name and address for the record, sorry.
Michelle McKissick, 160 South Hollywood.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. McKissick.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, board members. Mr. McKenzie illustrated the concerns regarding safety. I want to speak to the so-called vacant school. I am here in my capacity as a school board member representing that school in District 1 since 2018. And I'm really excited to share with you that Hume School, historic school, as you know, once attended by the one and only Elvis Presley, but we are now looking to the future of our students. And there is a project that we are working on, Memphis Shelby County Schools, with an organization called Memphis School for the Arts, where they hope to invite students from not only in that community, from across Memphis. I don't know if you guys are a kid of the 80s like I was, but this is like a future fame in the making. And so it's going to be a phenomenal school environment. And so we just believe that it's detrimental to have this corner store operate from 6 a.m. when students are coming in until midnight, and the environment that you've heard that Mr. McKenzie spoke to, that the students would be put at risk of. So I'm just urging you to think about that. I actually made this a civics lesson for my own daughter and brought her with me today, because that's why I'm here. This is why I show up every single time. I'm thinking about what's best for children. And this corner grocery store, or corner, it's not even a grocery store, this corner store with snacks that are also unhealthy that are being sold in there, this is not what our community needs. Neighborhood Christian Center is not far from there. This is a community that is on the cusp of getting better, and I don't believe that this would help it. Thank you.
Is there any question for Ms. McKissick? Okay. If you'll give your name and address for the record for me, ma'am.
Stephanie Walker, 619 Keel Avenue, Memphis.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Walker.
I'm a graduate of Humes Junior High School at Manassas, across the street from this businesses. They also have businesses on the opposite end, right at the corner of Jackson and Manassas, kind of across from St. Jude. All of this is nothing but crime. There's not been anything for the community but crime and scare. I'm afraid to go in that store. They've also got, I'd like to know how many other stores this family has, because I've seen one on Perkins and one here, and they're not keeping up with the neighborhood respect. And it's a frightening thing to even go close to that store without fearing for your life. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Ms. Walker? All right, thank you, ma'am. So give your name and address.
How you doing?
Give your name and address.
Roosevelt Barnes, 998 Manassas.
Okay, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
So help you God? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Bonds.
I went to Humes too. I'm a community actor over in North Memphis. Memphis Toast, my office, 962 Bree Love, West Tennessee, doing a lot of great things in the community. And the most important thing about this store is stay open 24 hours right now, not closing. It's a nuisance to the community. We got a lot of tourists coming in town, going by here in school. We got the greatest rock and roll star ever, and they got to see all this going on with prostitution, drug dealing. It's hurt not only to the community, to the city of Memphis. Because we got people coming out of town, got to see right next door to the church, people laying down, homeless, drunkenness, sick people. And this store is the place, you pass by 3 in the morning, you see 40 and 50 people hanging out. Ain't nowhere in Memphis. I think it's the worst store in the city of Memphis. So you know what's going on there. You know, I don't think I know, matter of fact, because I clean up the neighborhood. And I don't mind people open and respectful business. Like I said, I got 3 or 4 businesses over there, but we want clean, nice business, gonna open up stable time. Maxine's with there for over 30 years. She up 7 in the morning, closed at 5. Them business hours. It don't take all night to make money. It don't take all day. We don't mind people come to our neighborhood, business come to our neighborhood, but it got to be respectful for the neighborhood, for the community. And like I said, we got out-of-towners coming every day, passing here in school. It's hurting the city too. They got to see this. And that's what make Memphis look bad, when people see all this going on in our city. Thank you. Have a good one.
Are there any questions for Mr. Bonds? Okay, next. If you'll give your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. Michael and Easter Thomas, 1963 Edward.
All right, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Michael Easter Thomas, and I'm your city council member, wherever you live, representing District 7. And I rise in firm opposition to the granting of a use variance permit for the corner store located at the corner of Manassas, which has become widely known in the community as a public nuisance and impediment of our efforts in the city to build safer and more vibrant neighborhoods. This is not about opposing businesses. As a council member that wants vibrant things in all of our neighborhoods and communities, I am so pro-business, but we're talking about a business that consistently attracts illegal activity, loitering, blight, and community destabilization. We cannot ignore the lived experiences of many of those sitting behind me, and they have endured negative impacts of this store. Granting this variance would not just maintain the status quo, it would reinforce a pattern that undermines trust, safety, and investment in our neighborhoods, which we so desperately fight for. As a city, we have committed ourselves to reshaping communities by eliminating barriers to home ownership, increasing access to quality amenities, and supporting developments that reflect the values of dignity, health, and opportunity. We cannot realize that vision while we continue to make exceptions for operations that produce the exact opposite of what we are fighting for. Corner stores can serve as an important community asset. Just want to be clear, but only when they are well managed, accountable, and integrated into the broader vision for neighborhood development. We do not see that here. This particular business has shown no consistent effort to meet those standards, and residents, obviously, have voiced their concerns repeatedly. Aiding and enabling known community deterrence does not build safer and stronger Memphis neighborhoods. It fractures them. So I urge you and ask you to stand with the residents who've worked hard to restore pride in their blocks, to reinvest in their neighborhoods, to start new businesses, to protect students in schools and their education environments, and who we all deserve a community free from constant disruption and fear. I ask that you hopefully deny this variance and allow space for real progress to take root in this area in North Memphis. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Easter Thomas? Thank you. We got about 3 minutes left still. Name and address, please.
Zachary Amos, 7136 Winchester Road.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Zach Amos. I am here today on behalf of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Memphis to voice our opposition for this variance permit. Habitat has built more than 200 homes in the Uptown community over the years. We're invested here in the land and in the people that live there. Every home represents a family that believes in this neighborhood's potential. That potential is jeopardized even when a single space undermines the safety and stability we've all worked so hard to build. Over the years, we've partnered with countless entities to turn dreams into progress. We've worked with local leaders like Tanja Mitchell, who also opposes this project, to create a safer Uptown. We've seen great neighborhood stores serve our residents with care and safety. Unfortunately, this business harms that progress and safety. We urge you to keep our homebuyers' dreams of safe, stable, and affordable home ownership alive. We sincerely ask that you deny this permit. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Amos? All right. Thank you, sir. We got a few more still.
Want to make sure that everybody else got a chance to speak. There may be folks after me, but my name is Andrew Murray. I'm the president of the Community Redevelopment Agency. We are a city county.
Your address real quick.
I'm sorry, 850 North Manassas.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
The truth we've got. Okay.
I'm the president of the Community Redevelopment Agency. I'm here on behalf of the Uptown Community Plan and the advisory committee that represents that plan. Over the last 2 decades, there's been a lot of improvement that started in Uptown Greenlaw area and has worked its way over to Smoky City, New Chicago. We've invested tens of millions of dollars into the neighborhood through Habitat. Roosevelt Bonds, who spoke earlier, opened a business Toast on the street. We've got lots of great things happening. We've got a really amazing opportunity to do a art school across the street. Our campus, Porter Lee campus, has 4 proposals to redevelop that campus. We're working all the way up to Chelsea and down, and there is just really a lot of excitement happening. We've rehabbed 200 homes. We've built 150 plus homes with Habitat and others. There's dozens of entrepreneurs that have been created in the neighborhood. We've supported corner stores. And so I just want to reiterate that our opposition is not to this use. It is not to the idea. It is to the operator who permits all the things that you heard. And I emailed, I believe some of it was in the staff report, I emailed all of you a list of various criminal activities that have happened. This owner recently was busted 10 days ago for operating gambling machines just 2 blocks south of here. And so I really want to stress that this use is really detrimental to the community. We've watched multiple murders happen in front of this building and further down, and my staff is there on a daily basis, and we have drive-by shootings and all kinds of chaos that emanates from these couple businesses. So thank you for your consideration.
Any questions for Mr. Murray? We got 4 seconds left, so I think that we're probably done. So, but I did have 3 more cards from people. So, all right, what we're going to do now is we're going to move back to the applicant. So if the applicant will come forward. And sir, now you have the opportunity to, you've heard what people had to say. You can talk to us about with their issues.
I think because they said that we were with the store down on Jackson, Manassas, but we're not with them. And then they keep making the neighborhood dirty. They be like throwing the trash to the floor and stuff. We be cleaning after them. That neighborhood is known for it's like, they like junkie and stuff. Yep. And then, yeah, that's it. We be like cleaning and stuff after them. And we'll be, yeah.
Okay. Any other thing you want to add?
No.
Okay. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, can you talk about, my understanding is that the building was grandfathered in as a convenience store. It burned down in 2019. In 2024, you resumed operations. Can you talk about why it took 5 years and then when you resumed operations, why you didn't go through the right channels to get the permits that you needed to get? Just talk to us about that process of rebuilding the store and what happened then.
He said the insurance took a while. The insurance.
To pay us.
Yeah, the insurance took a while to pay us. Yep.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The insurance took a while to pay us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we took a long time.
I have a question. How does increasing the hours help you affect the safety of the building?
قالت له زيادة استواء يخلي معناتها ما يكتسف معناتها ما يسرقوش.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yes. How does increasing the hours of operation from what they have put approval in the conditions help you to increase the safety of the building and in regards to what's going around?
Yeah, we say it's okay to 7 to 12, that'd be good.
He said it's gonna be like better because they're not gonna have like a lot of time to break it in and stuff.
I think from when he spoke earlier, what he was saying, it increases his ability to be at the store to basically protect the store. So being open, they're there, less break-ins their way is kind of was his point earlier.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I missed something. I didn't hear that. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
So the incident reports have been happening outside of business hours?
So when the police have come for different issues that were like in the parking lot or people, were those during business hours or they were in the middle of the night?
It was in the middle of the night.
Okay.
And what are your hours currently?
From 7 to 12.
So it doesn't change?
Yep.
That.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you all very much. All right, if we could get a motion to approve, sorry, I'm pulling it up, BOA 2025-22 as conditioned by staff.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Double second. Thoughts?
I have a few, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Love.
I'm not sure if this property is within the Uptown Planning District OPD staff. Is it within Uptown?
Yes, it's zoned moderate density residential within Uptown.
So the Uptown Planning District was one of the first TIF district in Memphis. And I have to say to my colleagues here, I've had community development colleagues that I've worked with for decades call me about this case. It is a real concern. To me, it's not necessarily about the operator, but the operations, what's going on there. And it's not all the fault of the owner. Some of it is just because of what it is, where it is. But it's clear to me that this place is a nuisance. I think that a variance is a privilege, and what they're asking for is to operate outside of what the ordinance allows. And I don't see anything in this application that pulls me to support it. Thank you.
Okay, other thoughts?
I agree. My line of question was just to, I guess, get on record of the source of the nuisance, which we've got an idea from the rebuttal and from, it is a combination. Like you said, the area, it's a tipping area. It has gone through a tremendous transition over the years. And just in fairness, I was allowing the applicant to present their case for being on the right side of the tipping issue. So that's the discussion I have.
Okay, other thoughts? Here's one thought I have. I think we have two variances here. The use variance and a variance for the setback encroachment. I have a feeling that the use variance may not pass, but I think while we're here, it may be a good idea for this structure that's been there since 1920 to get a variance for the setback encroachment. So if they do something else that's allowed under code there, they don't have to come back for that. So I was gonna see it would.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, you don't need to split that vote. Brett actually has the administrative authority to prove that through administrative deviation. So if you would rather just not deal with a variance entitlement on here, I wouldn't split the vote.
Okay, thank you. So in that case, unless there's more to be said by staff or by the board, I think we can vote.
I would just say that the incidents reports are all happening during the day. They're not happening after midnight. I'm looking at the time.
Can I ask for the record and maybe for clarification, what are some allowable uses on this property?
Single family attached, single family detached, 2-family, and church, but I don't think the lot size is large enough for church.
So no type of convenience store or gas station or anything of that sort is allowed?
No, those are essentially the only uses allowed. I guess park, recreational field, school. But that is telephone switching center, neighborhood garden. That's every use allowed.
Thank you. I just wanted to
So
put
if
that.
they wanted to use it for anything that's not residential, they would really need to come back and get that use grant. Let's say they wanted to put in, somebody wanted to open an office in
Correct.
that building, they would need to come back to get that approved.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Any other questions before, or comments before we vote? Okay, Mr. Secretary, if you'll give us a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Love,
No.
Ms. Conrad,
No.
Mr. Bruce, Ms. Sharp,
No.
Ms. Skurlock,
No.
Vice Chair Savage Selden.
No, I find that the standards of the UDC of 9.22.6 are not being met, and this property will be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
And Chair Rainey.
No.
Motion fails.
Motion fails. Thank you all for coming down today. We appreciate your help in this process. Best of luck to the owner to get something going there. Mr. Secretary, we call our next case, please.
Item number 6, BOA 2025-68 at 1396 Stacy Street.
Okay, is the applicant present for the Stacy Street? Thank you. Is the,
Yes, the applicant is present.
is present, okay, and is there any
Yes.
opposition? Okay, didn't think so. Okay. Mr. Smith, if you could give us a staff report on this?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Travian Smith. I am the planner here at DPD, and I'll be presenting case BOA 2025-0068. The applicant for this application is Vanessa Ponce and Jesus Carreron, and the representative is David Bray from the Bray firm. The location of this application is located at 1396 Stacy Street, and the purpose is for a variance from item 4.5.2 C1D in order to allow a front yard parking pad. As you can see on the screen, the location map demonstrates where the property is located, and on the right-hand side is the vicinity maps, which basically demonstrates where the notices were mailed out on behalf of the city. The zoning map demonstrates the property as it exists, and on the right-hand side demonstrates the land use map. As you can see, it is surrounded by single-family use homes. This is an aerial view of the property that best demonstrates, as you can see, the front yard parking pad that we will be talking about today. Here are the site photos, and the site photos best demonstrate the parking pad that exists as it currently exists. Here's a survey that was provided by the applicant and the representative. And then here's the site plan that demonstrates, similarly to the survey, the site, how the parking pad takes up space in front of the existing home. And then on the right-hand side, you can see, as it says, the variance related to this site. It says on item 4.5.2C, parking pads are prohibited in a front yard, except parking pads may be permitted in a front yard where the parking pad is set back at least 50 feet from the public right-of-way or private street, and adequate landscaping is provided between the parking pad and the street. In conclusion, the request for the variance that the applicant is seeking for approval, the site is in an R6 district, which permits single-family home residential homes. The purpose of this variance is to allow that unpermitted parking pad to be allowed in the front yard. According to the UDC, as previously mentioned, parking pads are prohibited in a front yard. The granting of this variance will cause substantial detriment to the public good. It will substantially impair the intent and purpose of an adopted plan or the UDC. It will be injurious to the neighborhood and the general welfare. It will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the UDC. There is no hardship or practical difficulty presented by the application that justifies approving this variance. Staff recommends rejection. However, if approved, staff recommends the following conditions. The front yard parking pad must be reduced further to allow for a 10-foot evergreen landscape between the right-of-way and the parking pad. All existing chain link fencing has to be removed. Any new fencing should comply with the UDC. The applicant should submit a final site plan with the landscaping for the administrative review, and it has to be approved by Division of Planning and Development. Any changes or deviations to the site plan has to be determined by the zoning administrator and should be submitted to the Board of Adjustments for review and approval, or administrative review and approval by the Division of Planning and Development. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions for Mr. Smith or staff? Okay. If the applicant will come forward. And Mr. Bray, you're already sworn in. We'll consider you still sworn. Would you like to, are you going to speak, ma'am? If you'll give your name and address for the record.
Hi, it's Vanessa Ponce, and it's 1396 Stacy Street, Memphis, Tennessee, 38108.
Okay, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Y'all can talk to us about this.
I'm not sure what the issue is with the parking pad, but what I would like to say is that it has helped us in multiple ways. We have requested the city to request speed bumps because cars do drive really fast by our house. We've had multiple incidents where they done knocked our brick mailbox because of drunk drivers, not only mine, my neighbors, which they're my in-laws. We've had another drunk driver that came in our driveway, came out my neighbor's driveway and crashed into the front yard's house. So they've crashed multiple times to our vehicles, so we stop parking our cars on the sidewalk. It also helps our kids, the neighbors. My son, he plays basketball, so rather the kids playing basketball in the street, you know, the pad helps them play in our yard, so that's more safety for our kids and his friends as well. And one reason we don't file police reports because in the past we have had incidents where they've broken into our home. We called the police, made a report. Unfortunately, nothing was done. They were never found. So when the drunk drivers have, you know, driven by our houses fast, we just pretty much at this point just deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you like to add anything, Mr. Bray?
Yeah, can we go back to the site plan, Irving? A lot of times I understand when staff disagrees on a variance case and says that there's not a hardship. If you guys look at the shape of this lot and the vertical wall ditch, it's a hardship. This is an unusual lot, and as she just explained, you know, they're trying to figure out a way to not park on the street because of issues that they've had to park on the street with crime and drunk drivers and speeding. And if you've been on that street, the traffic does come down that street at a particularly high rate of speed, which is why they built this in the first place with the parking pad. We're showing the hatched area on that plan is a reduction. The parking pad that they built is very large. We certainly understand the objectionable nature of that. And we're mostly in agreement with the conditions. We would remove a little bit more. The request to do a 10-foot landscape screen in there, I mean, the dash line that comes through there is basically a 30-foot line from the back of the sidewalk. If we take 10 feet out there, that leaves 20. In a normal circumstances, if you're in the Kroger parking lot, a 9 or 10-foot parking space is plenty wide. But in this case, the space that's left, what would that be? The easternmost space is hard up to the house. So we really need 25 feet to park 2 cars in there. So we would be agreeable with taking out 5 feet of the concrete on the west side of this and putting a row of evergreen shrubs in there to provide some screening if the board would be agreeable to that. And then the rest of the conditions are fine. So if we could change that 10 foot to 5 foot, and then we would add the landscaping that's been requested.
Okay.
And I missed, do we have opposition or?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and I don't have anything else to.
And Mr. Ray, she's on board with the fencing changing the fence?
Yes. Yeah, we're in agreement with all of that.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all very much. If we could get a motion to approve BOA 2025-68 as conditioned by staff.
So moved. Second.
All right, moved and seconded, discussion.
I think I can agree with the changes Mr. Bray made, but maybe reducing maybe to 5 feet and adding the green shrubs, because that'll give us some green space on that property.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Grab something real quick. So I'm just looking at the overall map of the area. Sorry.
But it's just a question to make sure we think this through. So if we allow this property to have a parking pad in the front, what's to prevent the other neighbors from coming in and doing the same thing? And I think I know what might be an answer, but how's this property different from the others?
What I'm saying is, as this corner lot, as they were saying, it's the way that people are approaching in off Bayless and the corner lot. They're literally skewing and cutting across the lot and hitting the mailbox, going into the yard. Unlike some of the other properties further down the street, they're not, it's this one at this corner lot, the way they're positioned.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I could see where the house on the other side of the street has a similar situation. You're right in that curve, right where people are turning in. Not usually the best place you want to park a car on the street.
Right.
As opposed to in a straight street that's, 8 doors down from a corner or something like that. So, okay. Any other discussion? Would we be okay with our vote right now is as conditioned by staff, but I know we've heard some people say they would be comfortable with what Mr. Bray said about the 5 foot instead of the 10 foot on condition 1. Is there any objection to changing that condition? All right, seeing none, seeing no objection, so ordered. So we're going to vote on this. With those conditions, it was just the 10-foot change to 5-foot. Mr. Secretary, will you give us a roll call, please?
Ms. Scurlock,
Yes.
Ms. Conrad,
Yes.
Mr. Bruce,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. Sharp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Savage Selden.
Yes, I find that the standards of the UDC of 9.22.6 are being met and will not be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
And Chair Rainey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, motion carries. Thank you all very much. We're going to hear our next case now, and I'm going to recuse myself from that case. I'm going to pass the gavel to our vice chair.
Is the applicant present?
Item number
Oh,
7.
I'm sorry, Mr. Secretary, you can read this case.
Item number 7, BOA 2025-69 at 10,025 Holly Grove Road.
Okay, I see the applicant is present, and do we have opposition? Yes, sir, we do. Okay. All right, staff, you can go ahead and give us your report, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Nabanita Nira with DPD, presenting the case BOA 2025-0069, located at 125 Holly Grove Road. The request is for a use variance from section 252 to allow a residential home for elderly with maximum of 16 residents. On your screen are the location map and vicinity map. The subject property is located at the intersection of North Houston Levy Road and Holly Grove Road. The subject property is zoned CA, Conservation Agriculture. The surrounding land uses are a mixture of single family and institutional lots. On your screen is an aerial picture. The 2.04 acre subject property is currently vacant. These are the site photos. The proposed site plan shows that the property will have only one access from Holly Grove Road. The applicant is asking for the variance, citing the demand for senior housing in the area. The applicant currently operates a 12 resident elderly care home at 1869 North Pisgah Road, approved by the BOA in 2024. The facility is now at full capacity. The subject lot is a part of residential re-subdivision and different in size than other residential lot. The lot is also surrounded by institutional uses like church to the north and east. The applicant believes the property is better suited for a use other than single-family residential because of its location and nearby land uses. The staff recommends approval with condition. This is the end of my presentation. Happy to answer any question.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? I actually have one. Can you tell me the practical difficulty of this property? I think you stated it, but I missed it a little bit.
The applicant cited that this is a corner location and different than other residential lot.
Yeah, they have also written that it's due to its immediate proximity to governmental, utility, and institutional uses. Well, I'm sure the applicant's representative will willingly expound more upon that.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? All right. We're going to ask the applicant to come up, and then opposition, you will come in after that, okay? Go ahead and give your name and address for the record.
Good morning, or good afternoon. I'm Rick Winchester, 7515 Corporate Center Drive, Germantown.
Okay, you are an attorney, right?
I am.
Okay, you already sworn in. Go ahead, you have 10 minutes to give us.
All right. This is a somewhat unique piece of property. It is part of the Holly Grove subdivision, but these 4 parcels that front on Houston Levee are specifically accepted from the land use restrictions that apply to all the other lots. And I think the reason the developer did that is an acknowledgement that these 4 lots are on Houston Levee Road, which is a major north-south thoroughfare. And I think it's probably, staff might correct me, but I think it's the only major north-south between Germantown Parkway and Collierville Arlington Road on the county line. The property also is surrounded, not quite surrounded, but significantly surrounded by institutional uses. Immediately across Holly Grove is a medium-sized church, and specifically the parking lot for that church. On the other side of Houston Levee is a very large church, and of these 4 lots that front on Houston Levee, the other 3 are owned by a third small church, Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, and the city of Memphis. I can't tell you I know what their intended purpose for these properties are, but they are owned by, again, the city and MLGW and another third church. I think from looking at some of the objections, I think there may be some misconceptions. This is not an apartment complex. It is a home for care for elderly people. The average age at the other facility that they operate is 82. The maximum capacity is 16. At the other facility on Mount Pisgah, which you guys approved some time ago, not a single resident owns their own motor vehicle. So this is going to be a structure that, for all intents and purposes, looks like a very large and brand new single-family residence. The difference between this and a single-family residence is that if you live near this structure, you're not going to have to worry about motorcycles coming and going. You're not going to have to worry about dogs barking or kids playing Marco Polo in the swimming pool. The average age is 82. That's older than me, if you can imagine. So at the other facility, let me just mention this. There was one neighbor who complained before it was approved. After it was approved and operating, that neighbor came over, apologized, said he was mistaken, and offered to do anything he could to help. I have with me Steve Chandler, who is local and one of the 2 owners of the anticipated facility, and he is here to answer any questions that any of you might have about what's intended. But I think the important thing is to understand exactly what it is and what it's not. I am not a real estate expert, but I would guess that this would not only not decrease the value of neighboring properties, but might increase it because it's going to be attractive construction. It's got to be approved. It's got to go through administrative site plan review, including landscaping. It's going to be maintained by professional landscaping people. It's going to be, they hope to attract residents because it is a business. So it's going to be kept up and attractive because they don't want to run people off. So we ask that you look at the unique nature of this property situated on Houston Levee Road, surrounded on three sides by other institutional uses. And we think, and I hope you'll agree, that this is an excellent use for this property and would not be detrimental in any way to the neighbors that live nearby. And with that, I'll turn it over to Steve. I'll answer any questions that you might have, or turn it over to Steve to answer any questions. He has said, if any neighbors have any questions, please call him. If they'd like to tour the other facility, please call him. If they want to look at the designs, please call him. They want to be good neighbors, and I think they will be. And I think this will be a service to the community. Our population is getting older. The need for this kind of facility is growing. It's not a medical care facility. It's for elderly people. It's a residential facility for elderly people. Again, looking at the other place, average age 82. They just are not going to be bad neighbors. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. I think Mr. Chandler, are you going to come up and speak? May I have your name and address for the record?
Sure. Steve Chandler, 2148 Spring Hollow Lane, Germantown, 38139.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So
Sure. Yep.
Go ahead, Mr. Chandler, you have about 3.5 minutes.
Well, just to kind of reiterate what he said, I think, and again, I'll be honest, if I live in this neighborhood, I'm probably up here doing the same thing just because of all the stuff going on with apartments. So I get it. But I think the main objective for me today is to make sure everybody understands what we are. Because I've heard we're everything from a nursing home to a big box assisted living to apartments, and we're just none of those. We are a boutique style residential living community for seniors. My wife and I, excuse me, we've been in senior care for 25 years. It's all we've ever known. And we found out about this idea from a friend of mine, and the concept was simple. They were buying or building big, nice custom homes and creating small boutique-style communities. We went and looked at it, fell in love with it, came back to Memphis and found our first property. It's been a task. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. I feel like from the day we started it, the whole thing was an uphill battle. So again, my goal today is whatever your decision is, that's what it is. But I just want to make sure everybody's clear about what we are. Everybody has an open invitation to come to our current community. Like any business, we've had our ups and downs and things that we've done that we could have done better. But, you know, you live and learn, you start businesses, and that's just part of it. So I'm here to answer any concerns, questions. Just let me know.
I have one question. You have read the staff report and they have made their conditions. Are there any objections to the conditions that they made in the staff report?
What? I don't know.
Sorry.
Were there any objections to the conditions that were set forth in the
None at all.
report?
We've agreed to all the conditions.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Are there any questions from the board for Mr. Chandler? Seeing that there are not, Mr. Chandler, when you return, you have about 4 minutes for rebuttal.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like we have quite a number of opposition. And it looks like I'm going to ask your name in just a second. Let me reset the clock. Opposition, you have 10 minutes as collectively as a group. And so we're going to ask, give me your name, ma'am, so I can.
My name is Annette Birdsong.
I have it, okay. Name and address for the record, Ms. Birdsong.
9985 Holly Grove Road.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Well, we have 10 minutes for the whole opposition, so you are.
It won't even take that long. Just a basic statement. A lot of the neighbors were talking about coming, but many of them just found that they weren't able to get off work. In with the neighbors and in talking back and forth and seeing text and emails, the majority of the complaint was that they really believe that the property value of their homes will go down. Some of these are the older people. Some of these have built their dream homes with a lot of land, with animals, with horses, with donkeys, with chickens, with everything. So this is something that they wanted to build their legacy on for their grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all of that. And so the main thing was like, wow, you know, when they moved over there, they weren't dealing with all of that. And also, besides that, they were talking about how horrendous the traffic is, you know. And I was telling them that most of the time when the city is planning, they will look at what's happening with the highways. It's a two-way street all around. And so during that morning traffic, during that 5 o'clock traffic, it's horrible. You can't even hardly get out on the street. It's just a line. And then when there's an accident, which I have been witness to, you're just stuck. You can't even turn around. So the area, I understand what he's talking about, the land. The land is beautiful. But for the residents that are already there, I think there needs to be a greater communication between the builders and the neighbors, because the neighbors are red hot. Okay, and they just asked me to come. They were like, please come. Okay, I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I'm the youngest one over there. I'm coming. You know, but they're really red hot. And they're upset, and some of them feel powerless, and they feel like they don't have a voice. So I'm just here to let you know that there are people who are concerned, and I think there needs to be greater communication. I have no problem in dealing with elderly people. Believe me, I understand they need a place to be also. But I think that we have to look at the whole picture here. This is not just about money. This is about the investment that the property owners have already made for years of their lives. And we still want them to be happy and feel like they're not being betrayed by the city because they're older and they don't have a name right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Birdsong. All right, our next person in opposition. Please give your name, sir.
My name is Glenn Starrett.
Give me your address, Mr. Starrett.
4714 Johnson, Memphis.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Yes, sir, you may proceed.
A few points based on what I just heard from the applicants. Surrounded by institutional uses, it is not. To the south, there's no institutional use, and it's churches on the other two sides. Institutional sounds rather draconian or overstated. Furthermore, my property is the one right next to the applicants. If theirs becomes a group home, then all of a sudden I'm surrounded by institutional uses. It's a slippery slope. That's not a good argument. The other gentleman said not a real estate expert, and that's true. And everything he said after that point is speculation. Furthermore, on that, I mean, Mr. Rainey said you can't consider the story even though they have a nice story. Mr. Bruce said future use has to be considered. Mr. Love said the variance is a privilege. To that, they're asking for a variance from a neighborhood that's about 17 houses right now, and they're going to put 16 people in one of the spots. They say that they can't be used for a regular single-family residence. It's 2 acres. I know the person who owned that property before he passed, and he loved that place. His situation didn't allow him to build on it, but he loved that property. And yes, 2 acres is a lot for some people to want to put a house on. And a corner lot isn't for everyone, but it's great for some people. I mean, if you want to do like a giant holiday display wrapping around the corner, that's great. And you've got lots of traffic there to see your efforts. I'm not going to speculate as to why, because that's, again, that goes back to the story. Thinking more in practical terms, we have to consider the use of the land. The baby boomer current surge of elderly folks, they're not going to be around forever. But what's the use of that place going to be after they're gone? Is it going to become some other kind of group home, which the variance, I believe, would allow? Or is it going to go to just decay? I don't know once the business fails because there's not enough residents to fill it anymore. I could go on, and I've got other points here, but there's a lot of people who wanted to say some stuff, so I want to just cut myself short here and note that I did send in an email with all my points listed out in it. I just wanted to add on the bits here in response to what they directly said. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Let's see. No, that's not mine.
Hi, the name is Kim Ewing, 9960 Holly Grove Road.
Ms. Ewing, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You may proceed.
First, I would like to know if it's possible to submit a petition of signatures from all of the residents on that street who oppose the facility. As it's been brought up, yes, there are 2 churches in that area. Churches are not institutions. They're twice-a-week facilities. Secondly, the current webpage talks about a serene retreat area. That's not what you're going to get along Houston Levee. Houston Levee, ever since the restructuring of Houston Levee, there's been drag racing pretty much consistently, morning, noon, and night, up and down Houston Levee. There is a turning lane to get on and off our street. That turning lane is being used as a passing lane at pretty average 60 miles an hour. So us getting on and off of our street currently is a very hazardous thing. Yes, I have reported it to the Shelby County Sheriff's Department twice. So therefore, that whole scenario of it being a retreat and serene, that's not what you're gonna get when they build this place on that location. Secondly, yes, they are elderly. They need a place to live. But when you talk about elderly, you're also talking about police, fire, ambulance. It says in here that it's not going to change the neighborhood. It will absolutely change the neighborhood. You can't have an elderly facility with 16 residents without fire, police, and ambulance on a decent basis. That will change our neighborhood. The neighborhood has always been conservational agriculture. Pretty much everybody on that street either has a garden, large one, or animals, agricultural type of animals, horses, donkeys, chickens, etc. So it currently is going to, if this facility goes in, it is going to change. And no, there are not other institutional facilities or amenities in that immediate area. I'm going to give the other folks some time to address their points of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ewing. All right, who's up next? Name and address for the record.
Eric Peterson, 9963 Holly Grove Road.
Mr. Peterson, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You may proceed.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to say that I have grandkids and I have a pool and nobody's ever complained. So I don't know what's going on about that. Surrounding institutional buildings are 2 churches. They have services on Wednesday. They have services on Sunday, a few hours each time, and every once in a while they have a special event. Other than that, it's as quiet as it is in here right now. If you pull up our plat lines, if I could get you to do that, they say it's unsuitable for residential use. If you look at the 2 lots directly south, skip the lot next to theirs, there is a residential house on both of those lots. Driveways go out into Holly Grove Road. So it is possible to put a residential property there. Just nobody has come up with the idea to do it or the money. Make no mistake, y'all. This thing's gonna look like a house. It's gonna smell like a house. But it's not gonna be a house. You're gonna have a commercial fire system in it. You're gonna have sprinklers. You're gonna have alarms. You're gonna have a commercial septic system, which is gonna consist of, correct me if I'm wrong, 1,500 to 2,000 gallon septic tank with about a 2,000 gallon pump and about 800 feet of fill line on a 2-acre lot. So you're looking at basically what amounts to 4 houses on a 2-acre lot with no county sewer system. What are they going to do? I'm sure they've got an answer, but it's a commercial system. They mess up. When they mess up, they overflow, and we're going to have to deal with that. We're also going to have to deal with deliveries. Supposed to, according to the conditions, it's supposed to be side or rear. They're doing neither. They're going to plant a few trees, maybe. Their existing property right now, it's a gravel driveway. The front's rough-looking, tall grass. Are we going to have to deal with that too? Y'all please take a hard look at this and let's come up with something different. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Peterson? There are none. May I have your name, sir?
Hi, Joseph Kennedy,
Okay. Mr. Kennedy, give me your address for the record.
467 Holly Hall Cove.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
You have right at a minute, Mr. Kennedy.
Okay, so I've only got 9 objections, but I'm going to just stick to the first top 3. For this variance, I'm pretty sure one of the criteria is that it's supposed to be a hardship that is being relieved here. And as I understand it, this individual, and I'm not sure, so I'm throwing this out there, purchased the land a few years ago at a price that was consistent with a single-family residence of a 2-acre home site. And then ever since, put a for sale sign up on it with commercial property written on it. And presumably anybody talking to him was told, you know, it's going to be commercial one day. Go ahead and apply for a variance. And of course, he jacked up the price and basically encouraged people to get a variance. And that would be a troubling precedent. The only reason he did that was to,
I'm going to give you a couple of minutes.
using the variance for financial gain is for the seller. That's not what the variance is for. There's no hardship here. The other aspect is the proper land just south of this location, around the intersection of Walnut Grove and Houston Levy, has tons of open land currently being developed and already zoned for these kinds of uses. The other thing that, building on the comment about institutional use and viability, there is a single-family home construction boom going on all around Holly Grove Estates subdivision. To the south, they're putting in 44 homes, I think, right now. And to the west, 40 at least homes. And I feel sure that for whatever reason, when this thing was approved in '81, which is something like 40 plus years ago, they may not have envisioned, but that is a beautiful home site. And I feel sure it could easily and will ultimately be happily developed into a single family home and have a family living there. There's plenty of space to buffer from Houston Levy. It's 2 acres. So I think, and getting back to traffic, it is a dead-end street, so there's no other way for us to exit.
Madam Chair, I believe we're
Yeah, we're over our time,
Okay.
Mr. Kennedy. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your
Thank
effort.
you.
We are taking into consideration all of our position. I want to now have our applicant come back up for rebuttal. He does have time for rebuttal. You have 4 minutes for rebuttal.
Well, I appreciate these people taking the time to come down here and address this issue. I really do. And if I believed that my property value was going to be negatively affected, I would do the same thing. But what we've heard, quite frankly, is fears, not facts. If you look at I don't know what the negatives from this could possibly be. It's not noise. There's not traffic created by this, probably no more than a single family residence with a couple of teenagers. It's not noise. Is it appearance? Now, this is going to look like a large, brand new single family residence. I think one of the speakers said, looks like, smells like, feels like a single family residence. That's exactly right. And unless you went in and took an inventory of who was living there, you wouldn't know that it was elderly people, housing for elderly people. That's what we're talking about. And it's going to be, again, we're not going to have chickens and whatever livestock they talked about, but we will have a well-maintained property, professionally kept up, and there will be, one of the conditions we've agreed to is an administrative site plan that will look at all these things, the exits and so forth, and any kind of screening, any kind of landscape screen that might be required. I don't know anything about this facility that would be objectionable, but if there is, if there's a garbage can or something, then there will need to be landscaping, and that's going to be subject to administrative plan review. Somebody said something that's contemplated that it's going to be commercial. Well, that may be why this was exempted. This was carved out from the land use restrictions for the rest of Holly Grove subdivision. But if it is going to be something other than single-family residence, this is the absolute best that they could dream of. No significant traffic, no significant noise, attractive, well-maintained. Again, I appreciate the concerns. I think the concerns are based on fears and speculations that are not supported by facts about what this actually is. Steve may have something to add. We'll close it. Thank you.
Quick question. A quick question for you. As far as I heard a concern about the septic drainage issue, are you all equipped to deal with the draining on that property?
I'll let Steve address that, but I'm sure all that's going to be subject to approval by the
Health Department.
Health Department and the surface water drainage, I think, is part of the site plan review and so forth. It's all going to be very, very supervised, if that makes sense.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Looks like there are not. All right. May I get a motion to approve BOA? And I think my laptop just died.
So moved.
BOA 2025-0069 as conditioned by staff.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second. Mr. Secretary, may we get a roll call vote?
Is there any discussion first?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been asleep. No, I'm just kidding. Let's have discussion, board members. Are there any discussion? Mr. Bruce?
Well, no, I was just going to say I'd like to hear some discussion, get other people's thoughts. My initial thought is, I don't see a real problem with the project, but there's opposition. And I want to make sure that we consider the opposition's views. And so I want to, hopefully I can get some feedback from the rest of you, get your thoughts.
Now, I'm too, like Mr. Secretary and others have said, this is going to be a highly, regulated project because of it being an elderly community, the intentions of it, and looks like even the size of it. So you will have other departments that are regulating, whether it be the health department, whether it be, sounds like as far as a lot of it was traffic issues. We're talking elderly people who may not drive, but we're not talking, a constant in and out like you would even with a church, to me, institution. The style of it, I guess, if they're keeping in with the appearance of a oversized home, what does that look like? I'm not sure because we don't even have that, but I think it's going to be pretty regulated. To me, I'm probably in support of it. I have sensitively heard opposition, but I think for what the content is, where it's been presented, that it's going to try to maintain the continuity of the neighborhood.
Yeah, what I am saying, because you have also taken into consideration of the opposition, and the traffic that I do see that will occur will be the employees of the unit. Also, elder care has more visits from EMT, and EMT related services. Occasionally they have visitors, son, daughter, next of kin, whoever, which is a lot of this type of traffic is not scheduled the way a church is. It's as needed, as needed. And so I did hear the residents when they said they're already, the applicant was saying that they were surrounded by institutional. Well, now the residents would be surrounded by, locked in by yet a third institution as they get ready to turn out onto Houston Levee. Those were the more, I guess, it is a concept, is not, I don't have anything against it as a concept. It's definitely one of the more quieter.
How many staff are associated with that?
We did not.
Right.
That question.
We asked that.
We would need a 2/3 majority to reopen the public hearing. But if we do reopen the public hearing, we have to hear from both sides equal time.
I would like to say this because it's a different situation, but there was years ago in my neighborhood, there were efforts to open a home for mentally challenged people. And me and my neighbors had pretty much the same arguments that I heard today. We were concerned. We weren't able to stop it. They built that home, and the reality is, about 10 years later, it's been no problem at all. Traffic was not an issue. There's not a lot of people, I guess residents stay inside. We hardly ever see them. It's like we don't even know it's there. But I understand these concerns, but these are the same concerns that we voiced then. It just turned out that they were not real concerns. Now that's a different, it's different, but I do have that situation in mind.
And if I may say that I am keeping in mind, we did approve a BOA project for theirs, and from my recollection, I think Mr. Penzias, you can kind of help me on that. It went well, to your point. I think it was the uneasiness, and I think I did hear someone in opposition say the communication, and I think the more development and just including the community as they, of course you can't please everyone, but I think some community involvement, kind of being sensitive to what you're hearing as you're planning and developing and including them in on that exposure of when you get your pen to paper or more graphics, that they can see it. Because it's, we're kind of going on the idea right now as opposed to actually seeing a build out, an actual plan for it. So that's just kind of my point of making sure you include. You've heard their concerns, valid concerns, but I think once they see it and see it in motion, or even be referenced to that other project, they will have a better understanding of how it may go. Anyone else on the board for discussion? Looks like they're not. Now, Mr. Secretary, may we get a roll call vote?
Mr. Bruce,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Ms. Gerlach,
Yes.
Ms. Conrad,
No.
Ms. Sharp,
Yes.
Vice Chair Savage Selden.
Yes, I find that the standards of the UDC of 9.22.6 will be met and will not be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming out. We did hear you.
Okay, if you'll call the next case for us, Mr. Secretary.
Item number 8, BOA 2025-70 at 1353 North Willette Street.
Okay, is the applicant here? Is the okay. And then, is there any opposition here? Yes, we do. Okay. All right. If we could get a staff report real quick from staff. Ms. Christian.
Good afternoon. I'm Chloe Christian with DPD. I'll be presenting this case. It's record number BOA 2025-0070. The applicant is Carlos Amador, represented by David Bray, and it's located at 1353 North Willette Street. Here's a location map of the property. It's in the North Memphis area. And just as a brief overview, there are 2 requests being considered today. So the first is a use variance to allow a flooring facility in an existing industrial building, and the second is a variance to allow an unpermitted chain link fence. So our recommendation is to approve request 1, essentially with a few conditions, one of which would involve the removal and replacement of the fence. And a big part of this recommendation is due to the fact that the facility is operating in a building that was constructed before the current adopted zoning code in 1964, which we find is a practical difficulty. Here is the current zoning map of the property. So the property is zone RU1. However, directly across the street, across Louisville, the zoning is industrial, heavy industrial. And on the eastern side, the zoning is also employment. So there are some industrial uses in the vicinity as well, in addition to the residential uses to the southern portion. Here are some site photos of the property from Willette Street. Here's some more photos from the rear end of the property. This is the site plan submitted by the applicant. As you can see, it's a pretty standard industrial building with some gravel and chain link fencing in the southern portion, and then a parking lot to the north corner. Here is a zoning timeline that I prepared to just sort of get a grasp on exactly what's been going on with the history of the site. So as I mentioned, the warehouse was constructed as a by right use in 1964. At this time, the zoning was light industrial, or M2. There was also an accessory office structure constructed before October 1969, which is when the zoning changed to R3, which was 2-family dwelling at this time. A few years after that, the current owner applied for a variance to sort of expand the existing use to the red portion of this map here, and that variance was denied. However, the current use was allowed to continue as a non-conforming use. Then in May 2005, there was an approved certificate of occupancy for the metal fab warehouse. In 2019, the property was acquired by the current owner. And in 2024 is our first filed zoning enforcement violation for the fence and for the use variance. And pretty much directly following that violation, the applicant did file for a fence permit and a COO. However, those were not approved because of the non-conforming use. And then in 2025, a second CO was applied for, and the variance was applied for as well. And there is a second violation record for the same thing. So I will point out, as far as the 3.0 analysis is concerned, this request was found to be inconsistent. However, the Tennessee Code annotated does state that variances may be inconsistent with the future community plans. And so with this in mind, staff does still find that recommending approval is the proper recommendation given the history and the current conditions of the site. So we find that utilizing the site in accordance with today's zoning code is not practical given the history and the fact that the warehouse is there. And we also find that with the proper conditions and the current use as a storage facility for flooring business would have a more minimal impact than the previous metal fabrication use. And so as I mentioned, there is sufficient practical difficulty and hardship at no fault of the current owner that would justify approving this variance. And so we've recommended approval with the following conditions, and I'll hold to read. And that also concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Christian. Are there any questions for Ms. Christian or staff?
Ms. Christian, you said that there were citations on this property. Can you tell us what those were?
Yes, so there are citations for the fence being installed without the proper permit, and also for the use not being allowed and not receiving a CO.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, if the applicant will come forward. Mr. Brayton, you would like to give your name and address for the record?
Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Amador, and 1353 North Willett Street.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and
Yes,
nothing but
sir.
the truth of God? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. When I buy the property, 2019, it be a really bad conditions. Everybody, they can see in the pictures, how it look now. I be frustrated because I never think, I have any complaint from the neighborhood about that, because the only thing I try, is like everybody working hard, and I never see, because most of my jobs, is outside, out of state. We don't make it any noise or anything like that right there, I gotta be a trash company. They pick up the trash one time a week. We cut the grass, twice a month. My people that work Monday to Saturday out of state. There's nobody be in the building, I keep my storage, because I do in commercial work. I give a 1-year warranty, and I had to keep the material, to keep repaired, when the client, they call me. There's not any big trucks or anything like that to block it up, the neighborhood or anything like that, not. And this is, I'm frustrated because, you know, there's some more business around. They drive big trucks and everything, and they stay this problem just with me, you know. And the fence, when I get the company, the fence company, they never be say, hey, that's illegal, you don't have to do this. I be out of state, you know, doing a job, you know, when I get the company, the installer, and they never say this is illegal, they get the permits and everything. What I do that, you know, is because in 2020, they installing a truck for right there. What I do, you know, my guys, they leave the cars, you can see in the pictures, on the parking lot, and I have 2 or 3 broken windows a week all the time. When I put the fence, and I have like 20 cameras around the building, I never have any problem no more. That's the reason I try, because I have a building in Gagwell, and they broken my building 3 times because I have a wood fence. And that's the thing is happening. This time, you know, they installing in all the business around right there, except to my building, because it's more safe. Materials, when I order my materials for my commercial work, it's coming direct from the manufacturer to the jobs. I never say, you know, I receive materials in my warehouse, because the only thing I have is collect the materials to keep for the warranty for 1 year, you know, to keep the same material. And I send the pictures to Miss Cleo. She see, you know, inside, you know, it's not any disaster or trash or anything around, nothing. The building, I spent a lot of money, you know, to keep the building really nice. And this is the reason I moved from Gagwell to right there, because I feel like it's, you know, everybody we know how is Memphis. You know, and I feel comfortable right there. I'm surprised, you know, when the neighborhood, you know, they give me this complaint because, you know, I don't borrow anything. I don't say nothing bad to anybody, and I don't understand why, you know. It's nothing illegal. You know, it's just to collect materials. Everybody we know house flooring, ceramic tile, that's it. It's no chemics and there's nothing. And this is I feel frustrated for that, you know, because it's more business, and they take this just with me, you know. And I mean, you know, I have a houses for rent, and I don't never see, you know, the color of the person. So Hispanic, black, or white people, I never see that. You know, and I have it in my houses, all these people, you know, and I never see, you know, any color of this, in this type of case, you know. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add a couple of things in the explanation there. So there's no manufacturing or anything going on at this location. This is strictly a storage facility. As he explained, he does flooring for commercial projects. So, and he gives a 1-year warranty. So any material that's left over from the original order that's shipped to the site that they're using, he brings back to this warehouse and keeps it for the warranty period, so that he can go back and make a repair with, you know, with materials that match, and that's the point of all of it. It was an excellent job laying out the case. This is built before the code, before the current code. It's been a warehouse. We would like for you guys to approve that request. Did discuss this with staff. We do understand about the fencing issue. We are in agreement with the conditions. The fencing issue would be something that have to be worked out. And then I know we've got opposition here, so I'll reserve the rest of my time for after the opposition.
Lenora Pipkin, 1343 North Willette Street.
Louise Jones, 1277 North McNeil Street.
Brian Barkers, 5320 White Diamond Street, 38109, Barkers Urban Design Group. We do.
Good afternoon. I'm here with my family and my neighbors. We live next to the property at 1353 North Willette Street. My family has lived in that for over 100 years. My husband was born there. In 1926, his birth certificate shows 1343 Auditorium, which is now Willette Street. My first daughter was born there in 1969. My second daughter was born there in 1976. My husband's first son was born there in 1957. His second son and daughter was born in 1958. This is what makes me an expert in telling you what happened in that neighborhood. When the consolidation and the demo of the lots and homes that makes up 1353 North Willette Street. In 1964, the office was built. It was built for an office. In 1969, they consolidated the lots next door to me, around the corner on Stonewall behind me. It was built with no building, construction, plumbing, electric, or permits. They was not found. No zoning notice was sent. Couldn't find. This disrespect and hardship as we work to preserve our personal space. You cannot erect a building or a home and ignore the laws. Mr. Amador took down my fence and put up a raised fence without even asking me. These are laws, they need to be obeyed. They're today and then. I'm asking you, please, deny this variance. Thank you. Auditorium.
Auditorium, okay, I saw
Yes.
that on the plat.
Yes.
And then normally when we have, this has been here for a
It's
while.
old, long time.
And normally when you talk to a neighbor, like when you moved in, it was already there, but y'all have been there forever. I've looked at the record, like back to, the house was built in 1920, so that's a long time this has been in your family.
I sent you all the emails.
Yeah,
Did you all get them?
yes, yeah, so, all right, so any questions for Ms. Pipkin, though? Okay, Ms. Jones?
My name is Louise Jones, and I'm here to oppose this variance request. Why I oppose this BOA case? Okay. Don't reward illegal activity. This encourages business to ignore zoning laws. Warehouse bring truck traffic and noise to a resident street. Warehouse with barbed wire fence do not belong in neighborhoods. Years of neighbors complaining without any real enforcement action, undetermined trust, and city possession. It sends a message that individual industrial business can be forced into black neighborhood
without consequence. Please deny this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Good afternoon to you. We're here today on behalf of New Chelsea Neighborhood Association. This is a very small residential neighborhood, an enclave between Watkins and I believe McLean to the east. Your major bodies of water to the north, Wolf Creek, and you have Kilowatt Lake. You also have a major city asset, MATA bus station, bus headquarters and barn. I would like the individuals or the residents in the area who are in opposition to this case, please either raise your hand or stand. Raise your hand or stand will be fine. Thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you, Ms. Chloe, and I really appreciate the very good job you've done on the staff report, laying out the practical difficulties and the hardship, which were not created by this applicant. These practical difficulties and hardship was created long ago. This neighborhood has endured this property for some time. The zoning, I believe, is somewhat misleading. I believe in 1960s, I honestly believe this property was still zoned R3. Somewhere along the way, they got a building permit for a warehouse building. But this is a neighborhood that is concerned about this property and has been for the last 40 to 60 years. Next slide, please. As you can see, this is Ms. Pipkin's property. To the left is her left side yard. To the right is her right side yard. And as you can see, the fence that's been constructed. And her beautiful home is in the middle. You'll see her standing out on the sidewalk. Next slide. This is a view that photos of the property that were taken in 1980 when Mr. Grinder submitted an application to expand the lot or to expand the use on this lot. There's approximately 8 lots that he consolidated to build the structure and also to try and get a variance on this lot, the adjacent lot, for outdoor storage of materials. As you can see, the condition of the property upper left, and then the street view to the right, upper right, and then another street view lower left. And the subject property that was filed in 1980, the lower right is a vacant property with 2 trees. Next slide, please. And this is a layout, and I believe Ms. Crispin has also gone through some information for you. This is a COA, not a COA, certificate of occupancy timeline. That is from my historic district days, but a certificate of occupancy timeline where you can see it began in 1979 when a steel fabrication use was, the property was used as a steel fabrication. There's no record of a COA. August of 1980, outdoor storage, that BOA case was rejected. May of 25, the Grinders filed also steel fabrication. That was final. Certificate of occupancy was issued in July 2005. July 8th is a record number. There was a complaint, outdoor storage. The inspectors found no violation. January 2019, Mr. Amador, commercial flooring application. There's no COA final. Then in August 20 and so on. In August of 24, he filed a use and occupancy permit for COO, and that expired. August 2024, installed in chain link fence. That's to be determined by this board, and also May 25 is where we are now with the use variance. That's to be determined. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is an enforcement case timeline. As you can see, in March of 2019, improper storage was closed with no violation. In July of 2019, vehicle parked on the street, that was closed with no violation. And keep in mind, when there's no violation, these are closed. the applicant has done something to rectify it. So I just want to be clear on that. August 2024, he filed a use and occupancy permit, and that's still active. And but he was operating without a license, no current certificate of occupancy, and no fence permit. In May of 2025, the application before you today has been filed, and that's to be determined. Next slide. Now, these are photos of the subject property as we know it today, 2025, with the exception of the upper left on the first row, which is the original location of the steel fabrication plant, which is immediately north of this site that was operated by the Grinders. I believe it was American Steel. And that's in heavy industrial zoning, Willette Street, the next photo is a view south. As you can see, is residential in character. And then a view of the actual property itself is 1353 Willette Street and Louisville Street, which is the dividing line between residential, RE1 and heavy industrial zoning. Louisville Street, the same condition exists. As you can tell, there are some topographical issues here. The roadway is higher in elevation than the building itself, so that applies to an unusual characteristic. However, the view to the south on Stonewall is residential on one side, and then you have this building on the opposite side with some needed improvements along the street. And also in the lower right, which is important, this is a sign that I took from the Google photo maps. It shows that this building was for sale or lease between August 2011 and between July 2014. Go ahead. Thank you. Next slide. Thank you. Next slide. I believe we're at our conclusions. I will now read these for you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. It's very understandable. The timeline reveals from 2019 to 2024, no CO certificate of occupancy was granted to the current owner for this address. Enforcement timeline reveals the current owner has been operating since January 2019 without a business license. I don't know that for sure, but he has been operating without a certificate of occupancy on record, including no fence permit. And the UDC states what it states here, and that's very clear that you have an opportunity to right a wrong that was done 20, 40, 60 years ago. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, should not take that long. I'm going to try not to. It's been a long afternoon for you guys. So, a couple of points from Mr. Bacchus's presentation. Yes, since 2019 to 2024, I understand the point that he's making about 365 days without the certificate of occupancy, and that being the use expiring and the non-conforming use expiring. However, we're still stuck with this building that was built. This is not a case where a residence was turned into a professional office for a period of time. You still have what could be considered bedrooms or converted back to a house because the non-conforming use had expired over a period of time. This was built as a warehouse, built as an industrial building legally in 1964 under the zoning. I have no idea how in 1964 you had the R2 and the M2 zoning so close to each other without any sort of buffer, but it was built legally at the time that it was built, and you have the heavy industrial across the road from it. So this building can really only be used for this. It's been there for 61 years. For most of that time, it was a much more intensive uses than Mr. Amador is proposing. I think 25 years of it was a steel fabrication, and you can see from those pictures provided with heavy equipment in the parking lot, cranes, employees coming in and out. That's not the situation now. It's a warehouse. It's basically empty with the exception of the flooring materials except for on Mondays and Saturdays when the workers are going out, and Saturday when they're getting back in. We're not driving traffic to the area. The other industrial uses in the area most certainly do, but this is about as quiet of a use as we could have in this situation with an existing building. That's all I have. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, she said something about the fence, you know. I say in the beginning, you know, I'm traveling, you know, when the fence company made the fence, you know, and I apologize for that, you know, just in case, you know, I don't pay attention to that, but I'm a busy person too, you know. It's really hard to manage a company. And when they do that, the fence, I'll not be on the state. I'll be out of state, you know, and this is the reason, you know. Again, you know, the fence company, they do the work. They're supposed to, they had to do the survey and everything and make it all the lines and everything. I never take a decision or anything to say, put the poles or put the fence on this side, you know. It's not like that. I get to be a company, a fence company to do that, you know. The traffic, you know, is no traffic because you can see in the pictures, you know, this is like that, cars like that all the time. There's no more of that, you know. They don't block it up, you know, the road or anything like that because everything is kept inside. And it's not like it's people, you know, the guys, they leave his own cars right there. If you see the vans, all these vans on Monday, they're going out. Only thing is regular cars that stay over there. And I'm sure, you know, they made me to remove the fence. I know, you know, I'll be calling the police to do reporting all the time because this thing has happened before. Stolen cars, broken windows, and it's really bad. And I still love the place. I still love the place because this place, you know, is from this place, they depend, you know, like 30 families. Thank you.
And just to reiterate, we are in agreement with the conditions.
Okay. So you understand, got to figure out the fence stuff.
We'll figure it out.
I say, Mr. Chairman, with that, is it fair to say you are withdrawing request number 2 related to the fencing?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Just want to get that for the record. We're only considering request number 1 now.
Okay. All right, any other questions of the applicant? All right, if we could get a motion to approve, get my number up here, BOA 2025-70 as conditioned by staff as to request number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay. This is an interesting property. I mean, it's very interesting that, I mean, we have a warehouse that was legally built.
And what else is it going to be?
And it's, you know, unlike, say, our triplex case where we were taking something and they wanted to like change it into even something else, even though it was going to stay residential, it was like they're building something. We're not even changing the building. It's what the building is. So that kind of gets me on the uniqueness. If we take don't like the razor wire fence, sounds like that's out of the picture on this. I think we're taking something that's, you know, not something I would want next to me where I live, but doing the best we can with it by the conditions we put on it.
The conditions, and I was looking at Google Maps, and it looks like there's some other, I guess we would say more industrial.
Everything north is nothing but industrial.
Yeah, so he is put in a very unique position when it comes to this property. Unfortunately, inherited something, but he's kind of, you know, done the best he could, other than the chain link things, I think, you know. And keeping with, if it's going to remain a, you know, low volatile warehouse, you know, I think he's doing the best use he can without it, you know, trying to force it to be something else.
I do think that because he is at the line where he's adjoining a neighbor, that, there could be a landscape buffer, like where that, right next to her driveway, there's a razor wire fence. It could be a wrought iron fence with some landscape, with the pointy tops on it. Right, more residential. There can be some good neighbor transitions, I think.
It does say evergreen shrubs will be installed in front of new fencing along the east property line of Willett. And I believe there was a
Has to meet the requirements of UDC.
Yeah.
I did.
Class 3 buffer with a site-proof wooden fence shall be installed along the property line abutting residential use.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the very.
And that's subject to administrative review.
Right. I do think, too, because it's abutting a small residential established neighborhood, that maybe there should be some neighborly talks on how else for the transition. Maybe get one of those gates that roll, close, that versus, I guess, that wide open warehouse, just something that rolls, close, so that nights, weekends, holidays, it looks closed, and looks closed off. Something just starting a buffer. But I do think, as neighbors, that there should be some discussions with neighbors as far as transitioning. Right.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay. Mr. Secretary, will you give us a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Conrad,
Yes.
Ms. Skurlock,
This is just for one, request number
This
one.
is just for one, yes. ma'am.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Bruce,
Yes.
Ms. Sharp,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Vice Chair Savage Sheldon.
I find that the standards of UDC of 9.22.6 are being met and will not be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
And Chair Rainey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you all for coming down. Mr. Secretary, will you call our last issue today?
Our last item is a petition for rehearing, item number 11, BOA 2025-53 at 309 North McLean Boulevard.
Okay. Do you want to give us a brief overview of what we are allowed and not to do, or our process for this?
Essentially, the applicant would like you to rehear this case at next month's meeting based on the letter that they have submitted, which is included in the staff report. You are not required to allow testimony from any parties.
Okay. All right, so we have petitioners here. We also have one person here in opposition to this rehearing. I believe y'all have all read the letter. Any thoughts on that? I have some, but I'm willing to hear y'all's first. So basically, the letter is saying we acted incorrectly by conditioning the Airbnb, not allowing Airbnb in the front house. This is our circular drive on McLean. And so I think that was something that we discussed. I disagree with the letter in that we don't have the ability to put conditions on variances. And so I don't have any desire to rehear the case, and am happy to be appealed and go to the courts to tell us if we did something wrong. But I don't see anything new in the letter that would make me think I would change my mind on my vote. So that's my thought.
And I wasn't here last time. I didn't hear it. I just read the letter looking for a reason, looking for grounds for us to rehear it. I didn't see anything that was anything substantive any substantive reason why we should rehear
Right.
it.
It could be we're wrong.
Yeah.
But that's for, I think, the court to decide. I think we agreed it, or we thought last time we were right. And so I would stand by that decision. So,
I
Other
agree.
thoughts?
I agree with the board. I mean, the sentiments are you do have appeal rights in court.
correct.
And that way you can definitely lay out your arguments and, as, your letter, you're presenting your argument as to what went wrong and definitely for the courts to decide. So there are remedies here, if the applicant felt that we did not exhaust the proper measures in our conclusion. So I think the courts are better fit for that hearing.
Right. Okay. So we always vote in the affirmative. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the petition for rehearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask for the vote, and just to be clear, if you vote yes, you're voting to hear this case again at the next meeting. If you vote no, you're voting for it not to be reheard. Okay, Mr. Secretary?
Mr. Bruce,
No.
Ms. Conrad,
No.
Mr. Love,
No.
Ms. Scurlock,
No.
Ms. Sharp,
No.
Vice Chair Savage Selden,
No.
and Chair Ranney.
No.
Motion fails.
All right. Thank you all very much. Any further, Mr. Ragsdale?
I just wanted to note that Ms. Mary Sharp joined us today, and I
absolutely.
thought
I
it was
meant to do
going to
that.
be a relatively short meeting. It turned
We
out to
tricked
be
you,
a
Ms. Sharp.
marathon. So we appreciate her being here for one of our longest meetings. So yes, I just wanted to mention that. So thank you, Mary.
At least since it's summer, we're getting you out before dark.
That's right.